Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kuzer, and yeah, I know it's been a long time that we have a little chat between you and me, my dear readers. Yeah, the crazy old dude on the internet is back. I'm back.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And today we are gonna talk about, yeah, of course, my comics, because this is what my channel is all about. All my social medias. Sometimes I go off the rails and I go crazy on Twitter. I would admit that. Sorry for that. No, I'm not sorry actually. But yeah, and I've been doing a lot, man. And I've been thinking too much, actually too much. And I'm just like, I have to do this and I have to be perfect, or I will never gonna do it, and that kind of shit. I've been just stuck in analysis paralysis and thinking about what I'm gonna do with my YouTube channel, my brand, and what I even doing, like actually doing in the comic community. What it will be my gift to the readers out there, the people who loves comics. And I've been thinking, for what I'm doing all of this for, is just for the love of comics, or it is just more than that. And I've been just thinking that I'll be more focused on comics and the love that I have for the medium. I know there is a lot of shenanigans in the internet, and I've been here and there. If you know, you know. If you don't know, man, it's cool. It's cool. It's fine. You don't need to know my lore. Please don't. Please don't. But okay, let's go straight to the meat. Let's talk about the meat. So, if you already read my webcomic, I already dropped Trapped in the House of Flies. Well, Trapped in the House of Flies, it was an ambitious project. I was trying to bring the true crime genre back into comics, the pulpy style with a mix of noir and a grittiness and a little bit of gore here and there. So it was a kind of like a hard mix, but at the same time something interesting to try to gather together and mix it up and see what the fuck I was just ended up doing. And it didn't ended up blowing it in my face. Kind of like people are kind of like, whoa, okay, this shit is something else. and I was like feeling it too, like when I was doing the creations of the villains of this new story, because I was kind of like more focused on the antagonist per se, how big of a threat there will be for our heroes in this story. There are a group of detectives that they are trying to catch two metahuman brothers that are living in the west desert of Texas somewhere, in kind of like a ranch, abandoned ranch or something like that. I don't know, man. You have to figure it out. That's why we are here. That's why I am here, to tell you about my stories, and then you go read them, and then you come back here and you say, okay, now I know what this crazy person is talking about. So, with this new story and these new characters, I introduce Igor, and I will show you my character design for this monstrosity of a character. Actually, I really enjoy creating Igor, and more because I'm kind of like a weird kind of artist, and I like I don't know, deformities and weird things. So kind of like Igor is where I put kind of like how I can put this without sounding weird. Well, I put a lot of inspiration to make you understand that this character is kind of like retarded, but he's an animal. He doesn't know better, and he's kind of like a childish monster, and that makes it like more scary because he has no boundaries and he doesn't know nothing. So he's kind of like, and his brother there is Earl, and that's a character that if you already read my stories, you know, that was introduced in a really short two pages kind of like comic strip that I wrote that is called House of Flies. So Trapped in the House of Flies is the continuation of that narrative, and now we are kind of like we're getting in like deep in the weeds and in all the story explaining, or well, actually, I'm trying to explain the origins of these two brothers, and that's why this story is kind of like important, because I really want to bring action too in the second act and the third act, and body horror and gore, a little bit of gore here and there, because your boy is a freak. You already know that. Don't make me explain. So yes, that's kind of like the base idea of Trapped in the House of Flies. For the kind of like the antagonist of this story. And let's now talk about division outside of the mainstream Bureau of Investigation. Yeah, I'm talking about the FBI. Yeah, and if you already know, the Vault is kind of like well, it was, yeah, I was inspired, and people who are into comics know where kind of like my inspirations came from. But the Vault is my own shit. It's my own stuff. I created it specifically to make sense without like within my universe. So the Vault is kind of like a special division of the mainstream Bureau of Investigation, where they treat these strange and kind of like out of the ordinary cases. And I always was interested in kind of like theories about those kind of like divisions within the Bureau of Investigation. And we have MK Ultra too, so I always have a little bit of an interest in the checks and balances within the Bureau of Investigation. And it's kind of like my way to get a little bit wacky and shit, and mix it up with a comic book vibe, in these stories, and this is just an interest. I'm not saying like yeah, everything is real, like I don't know, rebel and just go crazy and ham. I don't know. I'm just saying that these are the kind of stuff that I'm interested in, and kind of like the trap. This story, Trapped in the House of Lies, is not just an introduction of the monster of the week or something like that. No, it is more like a story that is introducing other parts of different narratives that I can grab onto to create new stories and, you know, connect characters and, let's say, utilize everything, my characters, even my different dimensions that I have in my stories, and new characters will be introduced by old characters. So this is kind of like the way that I'm thinking and developing this new universe, and I'm trying to make it as coherent as possible. It's a lot of hard work, and work that probably you don't see, because it takes a lot of time to plan and development, kind of like a full circle explanation and introduction on different characters. So this story, Trapped in the House of Lies, is kind of like my first experiment where I just go all out with, and I go a little bit crazy, and I just introduce 3 characters into the mix in, you know, my anthology Dark Tales. The characters that I want them to be current characters that probably I will use in different stories. And if you already read the story, we have Rebecca Ashmore, and she's a criminology scientist. She's a forensic scientist, to be exact. I'm sorry, I'm just getting a little bit nervous just even talking about my characters. And then we have Steve Coulson, that is kind of like a senior agent, somebody who already is kind of like he already matured into all the intelligence operanda and ways of the bureau to treat these kind of like cases that are really not just dangerous, but at the same time they are a problem to society if the information goes out. So that's why they call them the Vault. So, and I will explain to you. The Vault is an acronym. Let me see. Acronym. It is an acronym.
So let me explain to you the acronym of this classified project outside of the mainstream Bureau of Investigation. The VOLT stands for Verification and Analysis for Unexplained and Lethal Threats.
I already kind of like laid down the foundations of this narrative with the first kind of like chapter per se. It was called House of Lies, and Trapped in the House of Lies, it will be an entire story by its own. I already did the first act. I'm currently working on the second act and the third act, and yes, in this story I introduce a bunch of characters, characters that there were an inspiration for me like even creating them, it was kind of like, okay, I want a team of agents that are kind of like in the paranormal stuff, like weird shit. Like that's when I go wishy-washy with some narratives. Like sometimes I go straight up crazy and shit, and I'm just a fan of criminology. I like a lot of theories, conspiracy theories, like inside of the FBI, and it's kind of like this story is the avenue where I can explore those kind of ideas, stories, and bring in a little bit of a different flavor to my anthology. And I really was like focused in the horror part, plus the noir and detective is part of this story. If you already know, Rebecca Ashmore is kind of like I will say is she's not the main character, but she is the one who is driving the narrative. She will introduce us, like the audience, to this new team. The how the how they gonna implement a way to catch these two psychos that are on the loose in Texas, in the west desert of Texas, somewhere like in the whole desert area. They just live in a cabin, and they are kind of like outlaws, or kind of like people without any restrictions or any connections to human civilization. So yeah. And if you already read the story, because this is a lot, we're going with full spoilers. Yeah, the two brothers are kind of like inhuman, or no, not inhuman. Copyright problems. They're they are like meta humans. That's that's a better way to say it. Probably I will get a lot of trouble just for saying inhuman. They're not inhuman, meta humans. So their DNA is different. So um, it adds a little bit of a texture to the narrative. Like, okay, now I understand why this division inside of the FBI, where they kind of like not just target, but they try to solve these type of mysteries. They are kind of like outside of what people will determine as normal, or kind of like the type of information that if will be broadcasted to millions of people, a lot of people will go insane. So they have a task force called the Vault, and this is where all these mysterious cases inside my universe are kind of like, well, kind of solved sometimes. We will see if Rebecca Ashmore, she's a forensic scientist, and let's see if she can deal with these type of monsters that we're dealing with. And she has a partner, and his name is Steve Coulson, and the director of the Vault is Richard C. Langford. And yes, so these are the three characters. They are kind of like the heroes, or the people that are in charge of catching my two main villains, and kind of like monsters. We can call it the monster of the week, but I take like a year or two or 6 months to bring a new story, but we can call them the monster of the week, where they are type of not just dangerous, but they are actually the monsters that will fuel nightmares. Like that was my intentions, and my intention with this story. And I was more inspired by the masters. And when I'm talking about the masters, I'm talking about, of course, Jack Kirby. Not in the way that, oh, okay, I love how Kirby like draws. I learn a lot from him, but in the way that he does things in comics and how he views things in comics. And one of the more important things like in his work was his horror side of the medium. He has an entire collection of short stories, like anthologies where he draw like a lot of cool shit, a lot of concepts that I'm still reading. I can show you. Let me see. So I got this book. There is Simonson and Kirby, and this was kind of like my kind. I found a lot of inspiration on this book, and at first I read it on the internet until I bought it. I just got it, and now it's part of my collection. And I don't know, I kind of like understand the point of view of Kirby and his way to expressing himself into the panels, and the stories that he brought, what kind of like interest he was focusing on in the horror genre. So that was kind of like my main inspiration to, okay, I want to bring something flashy, something that will pop, something that people will remember. That was my thing. And yeah, of course, I went to the gore route. Like, yeah, Kirby has more like a criminal true crime flavor to his stories, more to the supernatural side. He wasn't like all into gore like the freak that I am. But yeah, that was kind of like my inspirations for this new story, this new development on my new catalog that I'm trying to bring as fast as I can. I cannot just print pages. Just be patient. Please be patient with me, please. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I'm focused more into the quality of my comics and my stories, because that's all that matters. And with Trap in the House of Lies, I think that I learned that the idea that my stories and Dark Tales can be kind of like a blank canvas where you can paint it, you can use a brush and paint it in the tone that you want to, if you know what I mean. Like, I really want to bring a lot of like flavors into this little world that I'm building that can be expanded upon later. So I'm just building the basis of this little universe. I'm doing this like in baby steps now, but the bigger picture is to give I give myself that freedom to delve into different subjects and different genres and it still brought it into the horror genre side. And yeah, sometimes I use tricks with gore and all the stuff, blah 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 blah. But my main purpose is to land the idea to my readers that I can really go to different routes that are not normal in, let's say, in this medium. And I took advantage of the sequential art of my pages. I take advantage of my page count, and it's a visual medium, and comics for me are a way to then you can express yourself in so many ways, and I like to give that freedom to people. And I think that if somebody that is interested in horror and different kind of genres, mix it together with a little bit of war and horror, Dark Tale is a title that you can consider a home, and I'm building the infrastructure, and that's what I'm focused on primordially, more than just social media and being kind of like an influencer. I fucking hate that word. I hate it. I hate it. But yes, that's what I have to say about Trapped in the House of Flies. Is a new it's kind of like a big part too of this new installment, and I think it is a fresh story, is something new. I try to bring something new to the table, and I don't know, trying to entertain you guys more in comics. I'm not a fucking, I don't know. It's like I'm struggling with social media for sure, but you can tell. But it doesn't mean that I would just be focused on that. I think it is just cheap codes and shit. Like, there's ways to get known in the internet, but I want to get known in comics. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was quick drawing this new story, Trapped in the House of Flies. So I'm working on being quicker and managing my life, doing my normie job, and then these crazy wacky shit that I'm doing, trying to building my own brand and my own publishing line in comics. I have to manage all of that. So it's too much shit, and I need to get my head straight. But that's shit that you don't need to know. You don't need to care. So let's go to another short story, or a little bit of an explanation of another short story that I published on my webcomic. There is An Elegant Self-Destruction. So let's talk about An Elegant Self-Destruction. This is a 3-page short story or comic script that was inspired by an historical event that happened in New York in May 1st, 1947, for be more specific. And it happened in the Empire State Building. And this event revolves around a lady named Evelyn McKeel. And if you are someone that already kind of know about the noir influences that I'm drawing from, and and I'm inspired by, you are kind of like familiar with this case or this historical event. You already know that what happened with Evelyn was devastating and tragic. She jumped from the observation desk uh, in the Empire State Building, and when she died, a bystander took a photo of her because, by his own words, she was beautiful even in her death. And I was drawn to this story, and specifically the silent depression of the lady that we are talking about, that is Evelyn McKeel. And her note, her suicide note, it was something that I would say that reached me, and that's why I was compelled to just create a story, because I was kind of like I came into this story having a little bit of respect for the victim of depression and mental illnesses that most people don't talk about. And I felt a lot of empathy for Evelyn, and my justification for using this really delicate subject is that I really want to grasp the idea, or a representation, an art representation of mental illnesses and clinical depression, that sometimes it feels like demons are following you around. And that was the main idea of what became the representation, the graphic representations of the creature that provokes Evelyn McKeel to jump from the building in my story, in my accounts of what happened in a fictional way. I'm taking a lot of creative liberties with this story, to the point that I will came across like somebody without any empathy, or I don't know, human emotions. I know sometimes I came across like that, but I really do have emotions and feelings and shit. But I express them in comics, and yeah, you can make fun of me, ha 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 ha. I don't care. I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm sorry, but that's true. And other thing, if I'm joking around a little bit, is just to, ease up a little bit this conversation that we having, because I know that a lot of subjects that I write about are kind of like heavy, and I don't know, I just want to bring a little bit of lightheartedness to all these chaos that are my stories within my anthology. And that's why sometimes I came up not too serious. I don't take myself too seriously, actually. So, and my last comment about this really short story, I already told you kind of like the main inspirations of where I came, to create this little short story. Another inspiration that I had was a song that basically has the same name. It's just all coincidences, okay? Coincidences. Well, actually, I will just be honest. I was inspired by a song, and the song has the same name as the title of this short story, because I found it really, really fucking beautiful, just the title. And yeah, you probably will say, yeah, I ripped off this band, but I'm mentioning this really, really, really obscure band, and I found the song that is An Elegant Self-Destruction by Atlas, like a year and a half ago, and I really, really was hooked with this song. I was just listening to it over and over and over again, and this song helped me a lot with gathering the visuals and the scenes, and where to place myself. Like, I put myself like the cameraman in every panel that I draw. So it gave me a lot of inspiration. And this story is a little bit personal, and at the same time is just a warning, for a cautionary tale to people that have problems and they need help, and it's okay to find help. I'm really, really against suicide. Sometimes I came off too harsh and kind of like an asshole and a pain in the ass. I'm conscious of that, but by the end of the day, I'm a person, and I really, really suggest to anybody who is suffering with depression or clinical depression, or they are going through something hard or rough. It is fine to find or seek help. It's a sign of it's more a sign of a strength to seek help if you are in those type of situations. And yeah, I really, really think that with this story, and with the little note that I left by the end of this chapter, I can open the conversation about suicide and the mental health problems that a lot of people face, every day. So that's another subject that I really want to address with this story. So please, don't kill yourself. You're important, and your feelings are valid too. And it's always hope, and things get better. So yeah, that's kind of like the little explanation for this 3-page little story. So let's go to the main 2 stories that actually I'm not even done yet with, and actually I'm really late. I'm really late with these stories, and I feel so feel so bad and guilty for not being as fast as possible, but let me explain to you why it's taking me too long. And yeah, so let's start talk about my two main stories and one other short story that I couldn't deliver on time, but I'm still working on them. So let's go.
So let's talk about my last two projects and why they are in delay, unfortunately. And it's because I'm still working on them. I'm judging myself really, really harshly, but at the same time, I understand that I need to be faster and developing these stories. And I'm getting better at it, but the complexities of these both stories is kind of hard, and sometimes it's difficult to manage, and the ideas and the concepts that bringing with these two stories, these new canon events as I call them, uh, are really, really important to me, and they are really difficult to execute. So that's why I'm taking a little bit longer to deliver these two projects. And if you want to be more informed about them, you can rewatch my two last updates of my webcomic that is Dark Tales, and you will understand better why I'm kind of like struggling a little bit. And let's talk about these two projects, but individually. So let's start with Hysteria. This is part of my new catalog of short stories, a deeply personal character analysis where we piece together Claire Mayer's memories like fragments of a shattered mirror, revealing reflections of her past, present, and future. And please, if you can take a look at the screen, I'm showing you the cover art of Hysteria with some interior art so you guys have a better understanding of the vibe of this new installment. Yes, we are in an urban setting, and this story will be located in New York. Why New York, you may ask? Well, because this is a story about a runaway girl who went to the big city to fulfill her dreams of being an actress. But for unfortunately events and bad decisions and some really, really bad luck, she will be captured by a cult. They will use her as a sacrifice for an archon of the Umbrarum. And yes, this is gonna be a psychological horror, but it is too an explanation of a old story of mine that is Delirium that I published in 2014. And yes, if you already read that story, Claire Mayer is the daughter of Joseph Mayer. Spoilers! But yes, we are continuing the narrative and we'll try to explain the events that happen in Delirium, but with this new installment that it is called Hysteria is a little bit of expansion, and I will give you little bits and pieces of a conspiracy within my universe of elites that use ritual sacrifices to live forever. And we will see the dire consequences of the ritual sacrifices made by the elites, and Claire Mayer will be the consequence. She will be back from the dead as a herald for one of the most powerful archons of the Umbrarum, Thanatos, and she will be transformed to a demigoddess, the bearer of the primordial chaos. and the devourer of light itself. And that's all I have to say about Hysteria for now. So you guys have to wait. Just give me some time to finish it in a way that I will feel comfortable to publish it. So please be patient. I'm sorry for being so late. But let's jump to the next canon event. There is Elysium. And please, if you can look at the screen, I'm showing you the cover art of Elysium, and the cover represent the first act of this story. I'm currently working and completing the first act, and as a result, the second and third act will each have their own cover to symbolize the key parts of the narrative. And yes, I'm using the Socratic tree structure arc to break down this big story. And I'm excited to show you some sample pages so you guys can understand better why I'm taking too long to get this story out there. Is because I'm redrawing old pages from 2016 when I created this new installment. Actually, when I created it, and now I'm revitalizing them and redrawing everything. Like I'm starting all over again, so that's why it's taking me too long. And this story is a foundational pillar in constructing a timeline of my universe, which I'll be showcasing in my anthology Dark Tales. This story blends historical sci-fi, a little bit of gore, paranormal, and generally cosmic horror, specifically cosmic horror. I'm taking you back to the very beginning, and yes, we're diving right into the middle of a war, and not just any war. We are in the midst of the siege of Syracuse, and together we'll explore the different characters and perspectives to unravel humanity' lost history. Additionally, these new installments serve as an introduction to a concept of an ancient and really advanced civilization, and you guessed it, its name is Elysium. This idea is a representation of an intergalactic republic that was here on Earth long before any recorded history was written by humans. And yes, we are gonna touch on topics like human creation and questions like what exactly is a god? Because the Lycians were considered gods among men. And these legends and this lost story of humanity is introduced by our mathematician and genius engineer Archimedes. And yes, we are kind of like diving into the history of Archimedes and his younger years where he was and a scholar studying mathematics in the ancient city of Alexandria, and specifically the library of Alexandria, where most of the scholars and teachers and geniuses will gather together and will teach each other different types of subjects from science to engineering, philosophy, and sometimes the occult. His information of the codex, these ancient artifact, this lost technology of humanity, he found it as a papyrus in the library of Alexandria. He says this to his apprentice, the in the moment is a kid and is our main protagonist. His name is Peridot, so you guys don't forget it. He's the main character, and he will guide the story forward so we can solve this ancient mystery. And when I'm talking about the ancient mystery is where is the origin of these lost technologies? Um, where are the groups that they had secret knowledge that are still in the Library of Alexandria? And that's why we are going from Greece to Egypt, because Peridot is the driving force of all this narrative. As a whole survivor of the siege of Alexandria, he feels like his only objective in life is fulfilling his master's wishes to gather all the knowledge of this ancient place named Elysium. So basically, that's the premise of Elysium, and I already present to you my two main stories, my canon events. Um, Tell me in the comments if you like it or not. Either way, I will finish these stories. And yeah, so be patient. Thank you for being here. Thank you for still waiting for my stupid comics. I will deliver it as soon I finish them. And sorry for the delay. I'm really deeply sorry for it. I'm trying to be faster. I'm really trying to. I have other story that is a short story too that is named The Cosmic Conundrum. There is a little bit of a mixed bag. Is explanation of the mythology of my little universe. So we're gonna talk about God, the creation of the universe, the subconscious. So it's a little bit wacky and crazy as you are used to out of my comics. So that's a little short story that is delayed too. So that's why I'm still, working on everything, maintaining my mental and physical state. I'm just, dealing with everything. So please be patient. Please.
Well. So we're reaching the end of this video, and I just need to tell you some few things before you go. And one of them is that if you stayed this long to this video, like until this point, you are a fan of my brand, and probably a closeted fan of me, and probably someday I will just stop stuttering and start talking like a fucking grown up. Someday, motherfuckers, someday. But what I'm about to tell you is I'm about to execute the Ghost Protocol. What is the Ghost Protocol? Well, practically I'm a ghost all of your asses for a couple like weeks or probably 2 months. I'm just gonna disappear. I'm not gonna even be here. I don't exist. It's all an illusion, bitch. No, actually, I'm going back to my country for vacations. Um, I need to go to the beach. I need some cocktails. I need a tan. I need to play in the sand and shit. I need to build a sand castle and shit. I need some help. I need to get some peace of mind, and I think this vacation is gonna help me. And I will go back to my old roots. I'm gonna visit my friends, and probably I will just play some guitar music, and stay out of all the fucking bullshit and drama it is the indie and the mainstream industry in comics. More in Twitter. Stay away from Twitter for what couple of weeks, and then just I will I will came back with my same old edge lore bullshit. But yeah, don't smoke, kids. Please don't smoke. And yeah, right now I'm just planning my trip and thinking how I will my career and my personal life are in a shaky ground right now, so I need to stabilize that, reframe it. I need to just clear my mind and refocus everything. And like I told you, what is the reason for me being here in comics is because I really want to collaborate, not just for, let's say, for my own ego or stuff. I really want to give something to culture, to people, and you already know I'm not asking for money or nothing. Whenever I'm done with my book, I will print it, but you guys just will have to wait until I finish my book, my stories in a way that I feel satisfied with the end product, because I really fucking care. I really want to bring the best stories that I came up with, and that takes time and takes a lot of effort. I don't know, that's why I just need some time to just relax, you know what I mean? That's why right now I'm starting to relaxing a little bit. I'm not too pushy, too much like in the internet. I think that I just need to go radio silence for a minute, and then came back with something new, something fresh for all of you guys. And that's kind of like the purpose, my purpose for now. And plus I want to like change my surroundings. I probably will move, and probably I will have a new studio, but I will keep you guys updated with my boring and stupid and retarded life. So yeah, but yeah, right now I'm just relaxing. I'm just a chill guy now, just relaxing. Yeah, now I'm relaxing. I really was I was needing to have this little conversation, this one-to-one conversation with you guys, and being clear of what's happening behind the scenes. And now I'm just preparing myself to move forward, because we don't have nothing else in this fucking life than just moving fucking forward. And that's what I'm really focused on. I just need to break out on this fucking industry or being kicked out. It's kind of like I want to change the world or be changed by the world. Why is everything have to be so fucking dramatic? I'm in the battle. I'm a fucking warrior. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm really focused on actually building a career, and making something out of nothing is really hard. And if you really want to do it, you have to do it right. And I think that I need to just take a little while to just practice, read some other books, getting more informed, and mainly it's just stay away from social media, because people just stress me the fuck out. and sometimes I just go insane. But it's probably just a me problem, and I need to fix that, and I know that I need to fix that. I need to fix a lot of shit. A lot of shit. Yeah, but that's why it's kind of like I need my vacations. I need to visit my country, and then I will be back. I'll be just focused on the grind and, you know, building more. Well, I'm kind of like now networking and shit, but the ones that know, and the other ones that I never contact you, they know why. But the people that I never contact again, they know why. But I'm still working. I'm still developing a little team outside the kind of like my regular team, like my assistants and the people who help me doing like more kind of like in the media side, in the marketing side. So I have friends that help me. Sometimes I just pay them, and you know, sometimes that's why I have a trailer and some footage to show you guys. So some flashy things, and you know, it's always is for me, business is always about people and knowing the people that you know they are driven and they know how to execute things with just little information. You trust them, and I'm really glad that I have the friends that I have and the people that I know that they want to work with me in comics. So I'm really grateful for that, and it's really awesome to just build little by little a little community. And it's weird that I'm kind of like the leader of the community, and it's fucking stupid, and I don't like it, and don't see me as a fucking leader. And like, everybody's a leader, man. Yeah, I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude in the internet sharing his life work, and this is my craft, and this is what I love. I love comics, I love storytelling, I love sequential art, and I want to take those things and probably, hopefully, I'm praying for that, taking it to another level, and you know, just leave something to the new generations to learn from. And you know, you have to know the rules of comics to break them, and I'm kind of like in a shaky grounds, and some people think that I'm doing just crazy shit just because I can, but actually I'm just breaking the rules because I know the rules of comics. And I think we are in a time that we need to shake things up to revitalize this industry, not even in the indie scene, but to the mainstream. And I don't know, it needs it needs young blood, and I'm old as shit. I'm getting older by the time, so I'm just kind of like, I will teach whatever. So hopefully I'm kind of like training the new generation, just giving in a little bit of advice. I'm not an expert on shit. I'm just a crazy dude on the internet. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. So the Ghost Protocol, it just started. So I will see you guys when I see you. So be nice, be good, stay hydrated, just try to be nice with people, and I will see you guys in the next video. So peace, and stay out of trouble, bitches.